Before we dive into today's highlight, the much anticipated match between Americas and India at the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in New York, let's recap the recent action in T20 World Cup 24. Yesterday, Pakistan secured their first victory of the tournament by defeating Canada and set a target of 106 runs, which Pakistan achieved with ease, losing just 3 wickets in the 18th over. Mohammad Rizwan shone with a brilliant 50, while Mohammad Amir was named player of the match for this exceptional bowling analysis. This morning, Australia faced Namibia and won decisively, thus becoming the second team after South Africa to reach the Super 8. Namibia struggled against Australia, understandably so, and collapsed to 72 runs, which Australia chased down in just 6 overs. Meanwhile, another match between Sri Lanka and Nepal was complete washout due to rain, both teams sharing 1 point each. Well, before we get on to the much anticipated India match, let's speak to our guest and the panel who's been with us throughout this tournament. Tanmay Mishra, one of the shining example of the associate members, who's an Indian product, of course, traveled all across the world. Also, we have Noel David, who's played for India at the international level, and also Paul Dinette, the man who must be smiling, who's left the shores of studio and is now in Sydney enjoying the Australian weather. Of course, also later in the program, I'll be joined by Ummesh Sharma, the editor of Cricket Tracker, but that's later. Right now, Paul Dinette, how would you like to sum up the last week in complete totality?
G'day, Sunil. It's great to speak to you again. I've missed you. Yeah, you're right. It's very much colder in Sydney, about 30 degrees colder than Delhi. Wow, it's been quite the World Cup. The pitches have been interesting. Pakistan is on the verge of being knocked out. New Zealand's on the verge of being knocked out. England is on the verge of being knocked out. Not that I'm smiling. Not that I'm encouraging Australia to play dead against Scotland and deliberately lose. I would never do that. Things are going well for Australia. They've crept nicely through to the second round, which is nice for a change.
What do you have to talk about the pitch? Are you satisfied the way pitch has behaved now that Australia is in the last 8? Are you happy with it overall?
No, I'm not happy with the pitches, but I don't want to be too critical because I think taking it to America was a bold decision and I think it has paid off. And it's very, very difficult to get these pitches up from scratch from nowhere. They probably should have done a better job. People say, it's nice to have the bowlers having a chance for once, and I kind of agree, but I think when you're trying to grow the game to a new audience, you do want to see 6s and 4s. But to be fair to New York, it has produced some really close finishes and some interesting finishes. So I'm not going to be too critical, but they probably should have done a better job.
Absolutely. Coming back to Pakistan, Noel David, are you finally smiling? Because you last night were cheering for Pakistan. Your views?
Yeah, it's lovely to see our neighbor winning a game after all. And it's a combination of both, of bat and ball yesterday. And I felt that, as Paul rightly said, the bowlers on top this time, the bowlers are enjoying the wicket, which usually never happens to them. So they are taking the most of the wickets. And I feel that they are getting together. And see, Pakistan always is a dangerous side, which we have felt. But unfortunately, this tournament, the first match was a big loss to them, to US. Then they knew they were playing India. They lost against us. They had to win yesterday in 13 or 14 overs to get that, a run rate a bit higher. But the 17 overs, yet winning is winning. Hopefully, they plan very well for the next game and, get that this thing, and can never know what's going to happen.
Tanmay Mishra. Well, we have a big game today. India faces India B team right now as we speak. Your views on it? Come on.
Sunil sir, you've really hit the nail on the head with the India B remark. There are quite a few players from Indian origin players, a few that I played with,
yes.
Harmeet Singh and Milind Kumar, who I played with Tripura. I'm hoping Milind Kumar gets a game. He's an excellent middle order batter. Netravalkar, who played for under-19 India. So there will be some sort of, competitiveness and trying to get one over your elder brothers, if you want to call it that. But make no mistake, it's going to be a very competitive game, especially because it's in New York and we've seen close finishes like Paul has said. So I'm excited to watch what unfolds today.
Well, absolutely. We have the images right now which will be playing on our television screen. Just take us through the two players who played with you under Tripura. And this is the image that we're talking about, Milind. Just go on and talk about it. Yes.
Look, I think the season that we played together, we were one of the highest run getters in Vijay Hazare. I think we were in the top 15 or top 10 run getters that season. And look, he really hits the ball well. He's a proper middle order batsman. I'm a bit surprised that they looked at Nitish Kumar before him, because he's got that ability to hit the big ball. And, you know, he's already played a lot of first-class cricket with Delhi. I think during Gautam Gambhir's, when he was the captain during that, he's a seasoned batter. And an excellent fielder. We saw that in the Super Over when he took that brilliant catch. Harmeet Singh, I don't need to say much about him. Under 19 World Cup winner with India. Lack of opportunities forced him to, reconsider. But just before this World Cup, he showed his abilities against Bangladesh, where not only with the ball, but with his bat, I think 13 ball or 14 ball, he got a 32 in that must-win game, and they won that series against Bangladesh. So I'm pretty excited for them, and there are other players as well. But these two teammates of mine, I'm rooting for them to do well, but I still want India to win.
Absolutely. India will take on the host nation, Americas. Both teams are unbeaten in this World Cup thus far, with America showcasing impressive form. The American team won both their matches. They have triumphed over Canada in the tournament opener by 7 wickets and edged out Pakistan in thrilling super over finish. Notably, this will be the first ever encounter between India and America in any format. To discuss this, we are also joined by Umesh Sharma. Umesh, what do you have stats for today?
So basically stats like USA played their first match, that was no result, and they have played only 30 matches so far in T20 eyes, and India have 241 matches to their name as a team. So there is a big difference of the matches. But despite of this difference, if you look at Aaron Jones' statement about this game, which was also praised by Ravichandran Ashwin, and Aaron Jones said that India are a good team, but we are not going to play the big names. So that is a very good intent shown from an associate player, and that is really appreciable, and we are looking ahead.
Good point there, Umesh. I'll go on to Paul today. Paul, you remember the early 2000s when Australia in a triangular series had put in two teams. Just take us through the atmosphere then, the talent pool then, and is it time for India to also start sending in two teams? Your views?
I tell you what, you could do worse. You could certainly get some players from the IPL. In addition, I know you're making the point that a lot of the American players. Yeah, it was the season of 1994-95. It was Australia, England in Zimbabwe, and the Australian board thought, we've got two minnows in Zimbabwe and England coming out. The one-day series is going to be very boring. And they had, Ricky Ponting, Michael Bevan, Blewett, Matthew Hayden, Damien Martin, a whole host of stars. And so they put an Australia A side in the tournament. The Australian crowds all cheered on Australia A. Ultimately, Australia just won, but they made the finals. Australia A kicked England out of the tournament. So I don't think that sometimes they say the BCCI stands for the Board of Control of Cricket internationally. That's probably not necessarily true, but they could argue that the next time there's a World Cup, we should put in an Indian A side and maybe an India B side as well. They probably go pretty well.
Well, that's an interesting take on it. Well, Noel David, what do you think of this development that there are Indian exports that are playing in the World Cup and they're playing against India for the very first time? Your views, Noel David?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for these guys. As Tanmay has said, they're going to play against the elder brothers. It's a good experience for them. Yes, they will try to prove a point initially to get the better of their elder brothers. Because they knew that whenever they were there in India, the opportunities which should have been given were not given. So they'll have that eagerness, they'll have that spice in them when they get on the field, that emotional, that everything will creep into their mind. And I think there will be a lot of pressure on them also, because they need to prove themselves, number one, against the Indians. And the second thing is that, they're playing on the home soil, that is New York. That pressure will be that, whole crowd, who are settled down in US will be looking forward for these youngsters who are representing US. I think it's a great opportunity for these guys, especially to the captain, Monak Patel, Netravalkar, Harmeet himself,
Just
all
stay
these
there,
guys,
Noel. We have Saurabh Netravalkar. Tanmay, you've played with him. Just explain what kind of a player was he. Just give us a backstory of the man who bowled a fantastic Super Over against Pakistan. Yeah.
I think even in the Mumbai circuit, I remember when I had just finished playing the 2011 World Cup and I started playing club cricket there. Saurabh Netravalkar was in my club team. And one of the things that we heard of him was he's a very studious guy. He's really intelligent. He's really good with the books. As brilliant as he was, he had already finished playing under 19. But a quiet fellow, an intelligent guy, only speaks when it's necessary. And really, someone very talented. But as I grew closer to him when we were playing and I asked him what he wanted to do. So he was very honest and he said that the best I can do over here is I have represented Mumbai in the Ranji team. I don't know if I can take it, so I want to pursue my studies. So I asked him where you want to go and what you want to do. So he said, I'm getting an opportunity to US. So that's my focus right now. And I said, what about cricket? And he said, I don't know if there's enough cricket being played over there. So the focus is I've got a good life. I've got a good opportunity. Let me move there. 10 years down the line, here we are discussing him. And what a beautiful story it has been. Because in the last 6-7 years, he's also led USA. Up till very recently, he was leading USA. And he's one of the faces in USA. He's become a role model for them that you can do 2 jobs at a time and you can do it brilliantly. And, I've got nothing but praise for him. Not only that Super Over, but how he conducts himself. He's a gentleman and he's a really nice guy to be around with.
Absolutely. Paul, do you think it's like it's a script out of Cinderella Man kind of a story where he goes down and out, doesn't get opportunity, and then he makes a comeback, that too against Pakistan, and wins it in the Super Over? Your views?
Yeah, I love that story from Tam, mate. That's so interesting to hear. The only thing I'll say is that the Americans, God bless them, they're not shy in being arrogant. I'm talking about the non-sports, the non-cricket fans who have noticed it for the first time, because they're taking great delight in saying, and this guy doesn't even have cricket as his full-time job. And they're sort of saying, if America took this sport seriously, which we don't understand, we'd win everything. And it's kind of like, I want to say you wouldn't, but I'll tell you what, as the years go by, if they do, a few more of them do start taking it seriously. They are such a sporting powerhouse and a juggernaut. The one thing I've always said, they do the little things right. I reckon that if America start taking it seriously, they'll never bowl any no ball. They'll have professional coaching. They'll do all the little things right. And yeah, it is a pretty much a fairy tale story. And for Indian fans, they get win-win today, because if India happen to lose, then unfortunately that puts Pakistan out of the tournament.
Well, Noel David, very interesting point. Do you think India is going to field the second team right now and get the reserves onto the field and get the seniors on the bench?
See, we have the talent. We have produced a lot of talent in India, thanks to the NCA. And I feel that whoever are in the reserve are capable, are good enough. That's why they are in the T20 World Cup. I won't be surprised if Rahul and Rohit makes that VR changes, fielding Yashasvi Jaiswal, give him a go, give someone else a rest, get someone else. So I think there will be a future. If not, with a positive attitude, if I say I would like to finish the group at the topmost, get the same playing 11, and get it over and done, and move on forward. I think you have a rest after this, so I think it's fair enough. Even if they make changes, it's fair enough. Even if they don't, I would love to see the same team playing.
Absolutely. We're just short of time. Last question to all my panelists. I just want to ask, what is going to be a good score today? I mean, we're not asking is India going to win or not. We're just saying, will it be a low scoring? Will it be a high scoring? And if, what is the score bracket you'd like to put this game into? Noel David, just a guess.
Anything 160 to 170, we will take it on.
Absolutely. I just want to see is there a 160 ever scored in today's in this edition of the World Cup?
No, it's quite a bit hard basically. Or 130 to 140 will be a good score.
No, that's it. That is Umesh's prediction. Paul Dinet, what do you think is going to be a good healthy score for the team?
I think if America bats first and if they could get 120, it would make it interesting. I think India, if they bat first, they'd be expecting a little bit more. You've got to take advantage of the power play. You want to be really cracking some sixes in those first 6 overs.
Well, the brand ambassador for the Associate Nations, Tanmay Mishra, what do you think is a good score today?
I agree with what Paul says, that if US bat first, they should look to get 120 and that'll set it up, because as the day goes on, the wicket really wears and tears. But if India bat first, what David Bhai said, with Rishabh Pant batting the way that he did, regardless of the wicket, India is known for its batting. I genuinely believe that India might get to a total that will be the highest total on this wicket. I don't know what that is, maybe 140, 145, but if India bat first, they have a very good chance of making sure that David Bhai is right.
Well, absolutely. David Bhai is right, but also there is another thing. Before we wrap up our show, India versus USA will be the last match at this New York stadium, because the modular stadium will be dismantled after this match. So, well, that's all we had time for. We thank all our guests, Noel David, Tanmay Mishra, Paul Dinet, Umesh Sharma. Well, keep watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.